You ever listen to the words from Little Red Corvette?
I don't think I've heard the song. No,
you have definitely heard the song Little Red Corvette by Prince. It is like his most iconic song. And he sings about going around with condoms in his pocket, some of them used.
That's messed up. Mm-hmm. That is messed up.
Most people don't listen to the actual song.
Okay, then.
And actually, after he found Jesus later in life, he refused to sing that song at his concerts, even though it's one of his number one songs of all time. That and Purple Rain, I believe, are the top two Prince songs of all time.
Yeah. Dude, that Rains Down in Africa, that's a long song, dude. That's playing on one of the stations
down in
Africa. What the hell?
Not quite. Good try.
So, is the Toto version better or the Weezer version better?
Weezer did a version of that?
Oh, it's excellent.
Yeah, I kind of like some of this stuff.
I think Toto's better.
I like Toto's original, but Weezer's is pretty good.
I like Weezer.
But then then Toto turned around and did a Weezer song too. Oh. Yeah, it's pretty cool, man.
I'll check that out. Summer Darkenings.
All right, Sound of Silence. Simon and Garfunkel or
Disturbed.
Or Disturbed. Yeah,
without a doubt.
Disturbed is pretty. I mean, I like both, but Disturbed.
I'm not a fan of the Simon and Garfunkel.
I'll tell you what, the best Simon and Garfunkel song, which is so underrated, I think, is The Boxer.
I don't know that one, but I got another one.
It's really good. The vocals on it are awesome.
Holy Diver, Dio, or Kill Switch Engage?
Both are pretty good.
Agreed. That's a tough one.
Yeah, that's really.
I like Kill Switches.
And the problem is they're so similar.
Yes.
Like, if you're listening on like a somewhat crappy radio, it's kind of hard to tell the difference.
Yeah.
So it's not like they took and did a twist of it or everything.
Not
like
really,
you can tell the difference in Disturbed and.
Simon and Garfunkel. Yeah. I heard the Simon and Garfunkel like, what the F is this? And I was confused. I didn't know it was a cover. Do you
know that they pretty much hate each other too?
Simon and Garfunkel?
Yeah.
I've heard that actually, yeah.
Yeah, they apparently, I mean, at least I've heard it too. I mean, I don't know, like, for fact, like, I've never met them personally, but they say that the two of them, they got together, and within, like, a year, they just did not like each other, but their harmonics are so good that they just toured for years, and every once in a while, they do, like, a Simon and Garfunkel We Need Money tour, and, you know, yeah.
Interesting. Were we recording by chance with that?
It's time to hit the trail, lock in those hubs, and throw it into low range. Because you are listening to Wheelin' with Keith and Johnny Orange, broadcasting from the Thin Line Off-Road Studio. They're here to talk about 4x4s, trucks, and everything to do with enjoying the great outdoors. Buckle up. Here's your hosts, Keith and Johnny Orange.
We're totally going to be...
Oh, yeah, I got one more for you.
Well, I'm just... Hang on. We are totally going to be those people that get caught on a hot mic someday saying something just way off color. I mean, chances are it won't be racist. Maybe you. But, no. You know...
There's a story that we're not getting into about that one.
But I'm saying, you know, I'm going to get caught on saying something really political that's going to piss off a lot of people, or you're going to say something that's going to, I don't know. It's just, of course, the thing is, we're not running for anything right now. Of course, in 20 years we might be, and then this is going to all bite us in the ass. But, you know, so.
So one more for you before we actually start doing stuff.
Okay, what's that?
Phil Collins or Disturbed.
What?
Shoot, I just lost the name of the...
Phil Collins?
Yeah, it was him at Land of Confusion, wasn't it? Well, I've entered the producer verify this. I thought it was Phil Collins did the original, Disturbed as a cover.
Oh,
I never knew that. I'm pretty sure it was Phil Collins.
I got to say, without hearing him, I don't know.
Dude, it's trippy. It's weird.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is Phil Collins?
Phil Collins.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that was something when we went, Stephanie and I went and saw Cher, and Chic opened for them. They're a 70s like disco group.
Okay.
But apparently the lead singer performer for Chic has been the main writer behind a fair number of the top 10 songs of like the last 30 years. He was the writer, and these other performers like Miley Cyrus or whoever just, performed them. But it's like this completely almost unknown to our generation guy.
It's so funny how many people there are like that. Yeah.
So weird. But
so I had an interesting encounter on the way here. You ever see the movie Transformers?
yeah, the ones about the guy that collects the little things inside of radios.
Huh?
Yeah, you put the little tubes in there, and then there's a little like box that's got the bakelite in it.
Oh, good God.
Oh, different kind of Transformers?
The movie Transformers with Shia LaBeouf, Megan Fox.
Yeah, I think I saw like the first 17 of those movies.
It's the first one's what I'm referencing. So
and
remember
then I
the very
eventually
beginning,
just gave up. But
the car accident in the very beginning of the movie?
car accident?
Yeah, there's two cars following, and there's a flip truck on the side of the road. The car in front of him veers off. No signal, just wings around it, and the other guy just plows right into it.
Well, I know what that's called, and in the insurance world, it's called a pop and squat.
I've not heard that one before. No,
Well, it's an insurance fraud thing. I was a victim of it once, but
I almost was involved in that on my way here tonight.
okay.
This moron in front of me was just going and just swerved. There was an oncoming car. I had seen that. This dude just swerves out, and I almost just plowed into this van on the side of the road. Like halfway in the road. Freaked the hell out of me. The guy on the opposite side was already moved over because that dude in front of me just winged around him.
What's after the Transformers movie?
That's what happened in the beginning, why the guy died. Why he had no dad.
Man, I don't remember that at all. But I haven't seen that movie since it came out.
Yeah, I haven't either. I have it
Was
on
it 15 years ago now,
Something
probably?
like that. I have it on HD DVD at home.
Okay.
No, not Blu-ray. HD
No,
DVD.
yeah, actually, it's funny. You mentioned that because, at least unless they changed the term in the insurance world, and in the fraud world, it used to be called a pop and squat. And I was the victim of one of those years ago. My friend Ryan, who I only knew as a casual acquaintance at the time, I was following him out to his house for something. I think looking at an old Bronco or something that he was helping work on. So I don't remember why we were going out there, but this was in high school, and I had a Honda Civic, and he had a Jeep Comanche pickup.
Nice.
And he's driving along, and I'm following behind him because I'd never been to his place before, so I'm following him to his house. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I don't really see the activity in front of him, but he rear ends a stopped vehicle doing like 45 miles an hour.
Whoa.
And I hit the brakes in my Honda Civic, the one I think I talked about in the last podcast, actually, racing out in Anchor Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that Honda Civic. So I hit the brakes, and I end up hitting him, and I hit him so hard that my windshield my hood ends up in my windshield. The engine got pushed back like maybe 4 inches. Radiators wrapped around the engine.
Jeez.
Car was totaled out.
Yeah.
Drove it home still, and drove it for another 4 months, but that's another story. But
Nice.
I've told that story. My dad smashed the hood down with a sledgehammer.
Oh, yeah.
Well, anyways, so the officer gets there, and he's an old family friend. I'm just going to say his first name, Graham. And so if he ever listens, he'll know what I'm talking about. And he comes out, and he's looking at the whole thing, and he goes, he says to my buddy Ryan, he goes, and we'd rear-ended this old rusted-out Dodge van, or he had, and then I'd rear-ended Ryan. And he goes, what was the vehicle? Because Ryan, or he goes, what happened? And Ryan says, well, I was behind a truck, and all of a sudden it just swerves around this van that's parked in the middle of the road, and I didn't have time to stop.
Yeah.
He just swerved around full speed. And he goes, well, what was the vehicle? And he goes, well, it was a black Chevy Suburban, almost brand new one. Mm-hmm. And he just looks right at him, and he's like, yeah, you guys are good. He goes, I'm glad everyone's safe. He goes, that's about the 5th one that we've been involved in this month with that that Suburban. He goes, they're under investigation. He goes, it's called a pop and squat. He goes, they use it as an insurance thing. Yeah. Or maybe, I think I had it the other way around. I'm sorry. He hit the Suburban. An old rusty Dodge van went around. It was they were people trying to get out of their car notes.
Oh,
that's what it was. So this old Dodge van ripped around, and then he hit this brand new Suburban. Yeah.
Jeez.
So yeah, pretty crazy. But
that's better. There's a guy in Richmond a couple years ago. Well, he was from Chesterfield area. Parked a truck on the train tracks in Richmond. Claimed it was stolen.
Oh, okay.
Brand new Dodge Ram truck.
Ooh.
Yeah, later proven it was not stolen. He had missed 2 payments or something like that. They were going to repo it. So he tried to get out of it by claiming it was stolen. And if you're familiar with anything dealing with the railroad, 1, those people don't mess around.
No.
2, those fines are not covered by any insurance.
No.
It's like $10,000 for every minute that it's down is the fine. So, I mean, it is an insanely high fee. And the dude had to pay it.
Yeah, that's...
He probably spent some time in jail for the insurance fraud.
yeah, don't mess around with those.
Not the railroad. Those people don't mess around.
What do we want to talk about on this episode? I mean, we're kind of talking about trucks. You mentioned a Jeep Comanche briefly, but that's not really much anything.
Well, you said Suburban.
And a Suburban. Yeah, this is episode 58. Did you have anything you wanted to cover?
No, episode 58, not 50A.
58.
Yeah, I thought you said 50A.
Oh, my God. Do you when you start teaching you sign language as well?
Nah, it's all good. A.
A. Yeah, 50A. Cute.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I don't even want to embarrass myself with that. I was going to spell E-H.
E-H?
A?
Yeah. E-H?
Yeah, I would have done it wrong. I'm glad I didn't do that.
Well, our YouTube listeners, they can watch this, but my fiance is deaf, so I have learned all of the most important signs. So I'm going to do a few right now for you.
Sign language with Keith. I'm sorry.
So I just signed. I'm going to do this again. I just signed it. I'm going to do it now, and I'm going to speak as I want. I want tacos now, please. I mean, that's what?
I thought you were going to go somewhere else with this.
What? Is that not like the most important sentence to learn in sign language, especially if you're with a deaf lady?
I mean, that and probably where's the bathroom?
Yeah, well, there's...
I remember that from Meet the Fockers. Good
That's
movie.
poop.
Yeah.
So, all right. Enough sign language talk. I am not proficient, but I'm learning. And disclaimer: anybody who watches that YouTube video, if I signed that wrong, I don't care. Because Stephanie will tell me the same thing. She'll be like, "You were totally wrong there." So
she watches every
do
one of these
not use
episodes.
this as an ASL instruction video.
Do you want to say hi to her for when she watches this later, or she doesn't watch or listen to us at all?
What? I don't think she watches YouTube
hi,
at all.
Stephanie.
Well, I mean, I could do hi. Now you're putting me on the spot.
Yeah, say hi. I love you very much.
E P
Don't spell it. That's not fair.
A-N-I-E. Well, I mean, she doesn't have a sign name, so I've got to spell out her name and sign. Hi, Stephanie. Well, there's different ways to do it. You can do love.
I'm enjoying this. I'm
or
sorry.
love you. So what?
I don't know. It just seems funny to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm terrible at signing, I mean, I can give you some other ones, but they're probably not anywhere near family safe.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not even talking about that one. I'm just talking about some of the other ones. Well, I told you today, I mean, the guy trying to get with that Mexican girl at work, and I'm just like, oh, yeah, you could say this, and, it did not mean what he thought it meant.
If you ever say something, do the opposite.
Oh, okay, all right.
You've mentioned a few things to me that I knew better than to send.
Well, yeah, I try.
I can't blame you. If it's funny, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that line I told you earlier, that might have actually gotten him a date.
I mean, maybe. I don't know.
She might have just laughed and been like, haha, that's so funny.
See, that's the thing. If it's funny, it works.
You never know. You never know, but...
Yeah. I'm funny looking. It hasn't helped me.
All right. Car and truck stuff, man. Car and truck stuff.
Yeah.
What do you got going on?
Well, I've got a new plan to fix Pegasus.
I thought you already fixed it.
I thought so too, but I didn't. So I haven't had time to get back on it. I'm draining the tank tomorrow. I'm just pulling that pre-filter. I think that's what the problem is, so I'm just going to take it off, flush the tank, and put new fuel in and cross my fingers and pray. I
mean, you need to have it going by next week.
That's if all goes well, I'll have it running the next couple days. I mean, well, it never not ran. It just under load doesn't. So.
I finally have in my world, I finally have a vehicle available to borrow. And so I think the old Excursion is going to go into the diesel shop down the road because right now I'm working between 60 and 90 hours a week. Oof. And I need to get that oil leak fixed.
Yeah.
Because I'm going through 4 or 5 gallons of oil between oil changes.
Good Lord, man.
Yeah.
I don't feel so bad about my oil leaks. It's leaking
pretty bad.
Now.
I was parked on an incline the other day at a job site in a asphalt driveway, and it started pouring rain like crazy.
You got all the rainbow
You would
trails.
think that the Exxon Valdez had just crashed into this parking lot.
Nice.
It was all the way across. I mean, granted, it was probably, less than half a quart of oil or half a pint of oil. But you know how oil and water is. It just like sheens across the top of it. And I'm just like, this is embarrassing. I can't do this anymore.
So what you need to do, I know some people do this with boats. Just carry some dish soap in there. If you know it's going to rain, just walk around, drizzle some dish soap around it. You'll be fine. No one will ever notice.
That's not a bad hack. I may have to try that.
Don't get caught, though.
Well, yeah.
Nah.
So I actually have another little story with that oil in the Excursion, but I think it actually, what would the word be? It's a sequel to something you wanted to ask me about on air, possibly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I heard you went shopping the other day. It's pretty popular. I mean, it's made it on a lot of news feeds.
I'm going to make it may make it on the news soon, too, from what I understand.
That would be awesome.
I'm going to take a wild guess that 90% of our listeners are probably like libertarian, conservative, Republicans. We probably don't have like a lot of super liberals that listen to this. If you do and you're offended, I don't care. And that's just what it comes down to anymore.
Everyone's entitled to whatever. I personally don't care. I don't follow anything.
Yeah. So I guess let me leave this somewhat vague if you're okay with that, but I'll give you this somewhat
for the best.
Details. I went into a local-ish big box store after work one day. I am tired. I just worked 10 hours. I am sweaty. It was like 90 degrees that day. It was weird. That was weird how we had that heat wave a couple days ago.
That was really uncomfortable.
I'm tired. I'm sweaty. I just want to go home, have a beer, go to sleep, take a shower, go to sleep. That's about it.
I would change the order of that. I'd shower and... I mean, you can have the beer before, during, and after the shower.
Yeah, for sure.
Shower beers are great.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, my God. Whoever did that, thank you. You're a genius.
You know what? Just moment here. I will tell you about the big box store story in a minute.
Okay.
Heard a hack today that I need to try. Maybe you've heard about it. Maybe you haven't. Apparently, we have been doing the cereal game all wrong.
Cereal game?
Cereal.
Huh?
Yeah.
John does not understand.
Apparently, cereal tastes 10 times different and better if you leave it for a couple hours in the freezer before pouring the milk on it.
Okay.
Now, I haven't tried this yet, but I heard a whole radio program about it on Dave and Chuck the Freak this morning, and people were calling in, and they're like, dude, you guys didn't know about this?
Like any regular cereal or some kind
Apparently
of
any cereal. Like, it's supposedly a game changer. And I'm thinking, I got 40 years of cereal eating in my, that's almost half a century.
I'm 40% cereal.
So, that's pretty good. All carbohydrates. This is all carbs, baby.
Yeah. I'm working on it. It's going down.
I ate Mr. Atkins. Anyways. So.
Well, there were no carbs, so.
Yeah. Well.
I wonder
so
if
I got
cannibalism is healthy or not in terms of weight loss.
What's that?
Cannibalism.
Oh, cannibalism? Yeah, as long as you only eat that and you don't eat carbs or sugar.
Okay, cool. Good to know.
And you keep away people that were around a high level of mercury, so. Yeah.
True.
Anyways, big box store. I'm in the big box store, and to keep this relatively short, because I know we're getting close to that break time and all that, but to keep it relatively short, I was shopping, tired, ready to go home. In the middle of my shopping, had a store manager approach me. about the mask thing. In Michigan, there's still, and many other states as well, but in Michigan, they are, which for some reason, 3 months into this quote unquote pandemic.
Yeah, they suddenly decided it's a great idea.
Yeah, we all need to be wearing masks. I don't really understand
It's a
this.
joke.
The joke, it's like wearing condoms at a baby shower. It doesn't really make
I've not heard that one. But
okay,
it
it doesn't really make a lot of sense here, but anyways. So political stuff aside, I have a legitimate, as you know, medical reason. I've even talked about it on air before. I've got a thoracic aneurysm, a fairly rare-ish, not super rare, but fairly uncommon medical condition. Talked to my doctor over at University of Michigan, said, hey, you shouldn't be wearing a mask. And so I haven't. I have not been wearing a mask anywhere. And I asked. I thought it was the good thing to do. I mean, it was the right thing to do. Ask the doctor. The doctor's more knowledgeable in this medical stuff, although that information appears to change daily. But he said, don't wear a mask. So I'm not. So I told the guy, I says, hey, I've got a medical reason. It's allowable in Michigan to not wear a mask if you have a medical reason. And the guy's like, I don't care. I'm going to have you removed by the police. And he did. So that's basically the story there. Our listeners, if you're a listener and you listen to us all the time, in the interest of keeping Wheeling not that political, my personal name, Keith Codet. You can go to my personal Facebook page. That post is public. You can see the whole interaction.
My favorite part's still the end.
Well, yeah, when they wouldn't let me out of the store that they were kicking me out of.
Yeah. The cop goes, let me see if I can get it.
Yeah.
And then the videos. Did he get it?
No, we went around to the handicap entrance. Ironically, after saying, hey, you disabled guy, we're going to discriminate against you.
So they let you go out the indoor. Isn't that a violation of proper signage?
I don't know. They let me go out No, they didn't recognize my disability, but then I had to use the disability exit.
Oh, that's cold.
That's what I'm saying, man.
That is awesome.
So I was just like, so you can go to my personal Facebook page. You can watch the video. You can share it. You can whatever if you want to do. But an interest of trying to separate Wheeling, I'm not putting it on the Wheeling page. Personally,
It's worth a watch.
Personally, I feel my civil liberties, especially some of the discrimination laws, which, by the way, I have learned a lot about in the last 3 days. Each state has their different laws. So if people make a comment and you're from Wyoming and you're like, oh, well, they had the right to do this and this and this, you need to keep in mind that Michigan laws may not be the same as your state. In Michigan laws, the big box store that I was in, clearly from the police and attorneys I've spoken to. By the way, I'm not trying to turn this into some big thing or anything, but the people I've spoken to have said that they were in clear violation of my rights. So it was a crappy situation all around. But
great video, and I was sitting there doing nothing, and just Keith Codet is alive. I'm like, oh.
Well, and the reason let me address that real quick. I've had a number of people say, oh, well, this was planned or this and this, and because you knew the law and you were quoting the law during the video, that means that you planned this. No, this was not planned whatsoever. I had about a 5-minute window between the point where he told me he was calling the police and I was waiting for the police.
We know you're not good with a script, so we know this wasn't pre-planned.
So, exactly. So I sat there on my phone, my lovely ghetto smartphone that's taped together, and cracked and pieces missing. And I looked up the laws, and that's why I had them. And I thought the police would be on my side. They kind of were, kind of weren't. It was a good cop, bad cop thing, but
it was interesting. If you guys want to watch more, check it out.
We'd like to hear your opinion on it. You can throw it on the video, though. You don't need to go to 4x4 Talk.
Yeah, we're going to keep this off 4x4 Talk and Wheeling.
Yeah, exactly. You know, if we ever do another political show, maybe we'll get it on there.
Maybe.
But I tell you what, after today, though, my coffee cup is quite appropriate. I've got my I'd Rather Be Up North coffee cup with the UP of Michigan on, and they are open. I can go to restaurants and bars up there.
Well, let's take a quick break, talk about that, and go get a beer.
Okay.
I like that. We'll be back.
It's cute when Rover shakes a paw for you.
Good boy.
And when he rolls over on command.
That's it, buddy.
But when he brings in fleas and ticks from the outside.
Rover.
Not so much. Rover can't help what time of year it is, but ABC Home and Commercial Services can. They're the best in pets, so give them a call and they'll come around and treat your yard. ABC Home and Commercial Services, 810-794-5678. Online at abcbees.com.
So we were talking about up north. So I had a few buddies that went up there. A couple of them have like a vacation house up there.
You're talking like Flint?
No, like Higgins Lake area.
Yeah, it's kind of up north. I don't really consider up north
It's
anything
in the
past
open
Gaylord,
zone.
but
It's in the open zone. Or they went
It's
to
up
the
north.
open zone at least. And they're all posting pictures and Snapchats of beers on tables and people. And everyone's all jealous. Like, where are you at, you lucky SOB? And all this and that. And, I would love to have a beer in a bar right now.
It does sound good, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, it's so much cheaper at home, and I prefer the atmosphere at home and my music when and how loud I want it. But a beer in a bar is a great thing.
It really is.
It
I mean,
really
I get what you're saying. It's cheaper
Yeah.
at home, but nothing beats the people watching at a bar.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
know,
The
and the
interactions
sound
with
and the
people.
smells. I
don't normally like people. I kind of miss people.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah,
and
kind of. Not a lot. Not all of them.
Yeah,
not
it's
most
just-
of them.
I
Yeah.
agree with you.
Yeah. And then my other buddy went to Ohio. Same thing. I'll just, picture of a beer, and everybody on our Facebook we're all friends with is like, dude, where is it? That's awesome. I want to go. This is relax. I'm in Ohio, not Michigan. Only time I'll ever say the great state of Ohio.
Yeah, I tell you. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm just going to say it because I can, because there's no repercussions for us.
Nah.
I don't know if you know this, but one of the reasons there's been a number of bars and restaurants in Lower Michigan that have decided to open before they're allowed to,
I've heard about that.
or promise or do a protest or whatever.
Yeah.
The MLCC, the Michigan Liquor Commission, something or other, whatever
Control
it is.
Commission.
Control
Michigan Liquor
Commission.
Control Commission.
They straight up call these bars and restaurants and they say, we're pulling your license
Ooh.
if you do this. So they're really just hammering down. And, I'm without naming names, my mom's got a restaurant. We heard about another local restaurant that said they were going to do a protest and they were going to allow seating in their outside seating area to go eat. And we said, so we all put on the Foxfire Fictions t-shirts and stuff, and we went up there and we supported them. We said, listen, but they canceled, quote unquote, the protest because the MLCC had called them and said, we're not doing this, but they had a pretty good turnout anyways.
Nice.
And, my personal opinion is that a government agency like that has zero business making those type of threats to small
I agree.
family businesses.
I agree. Yeah.
It's just it's really just ridiculous. But maybe we'll do another political podcast in the future or something, and
Yeah, maybe.
we'll talk about how people could do things. But speaking of, if we're going to talk truck stuff for a little bit, maybe for the last half or last third of this episode, we like to play in those numbers all the time.
Yeah.
Episode 58.
It's the one after 57.
Yeah.
Couple before 60 still.
1958. I think, as you know, and as well I know as well, was an interesting year in the automotive industry because that was a year where a lot of people thought that the government was stepping in and making cars be more similar and things like that. But in reality, they weren't. They had a few regulations that they had put on, but in reality, when you read into 1958 and the automotive industry, it was probably darn near the pinnacle of automotive espionage.
Oh, interesting.
Part of the thing is, and this was a Google rabbit hole of mine that I went down a while ago. And
Gotta be careful with those. You can waste a lot of time.
Exactly. Well, I had heard for years and years and years that, anyone that knows 50s cars and trucks for that matter knows that pretty much everything that came out in 58 in the U.S. got 4 headlights. In 57, they had 2 headlights.
Why?
Well, a bunch of people have said over the years, the government said that they had to have more light and blah, 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 and they had to do that. And 4 headlights stayed all the way into the mid-60s.
I mean, I guess.
For most
but-
vehicles.
Yeah. I guess the technology wasn't really there like we have now. So.
But it wasn't the case. The government never decreed that. The government never said you have to have 4 headlights. In fact, a lot of states had to look for permission to to have four headlights. In some 57 Chrysler products, they planned to have four headlights, but instead the inner ones ended up being a fog light. They were a yellow light.
Oh.
So it was kind of interesting. But when I got reading into it, apparently a lot of the Detroit bigwigs from the Detroit 3, even American Motors at the time.
Sorry, I got some stuff in my eye here.
You got a little a tear in your eye?
No. Probably a chunk of aluminum still.
You want me to throw some water in your eye?
Not that water.
Okay.
Not fire water. Anyways, I think it's gone.
Anyways, they used to like play golf together, and they would play poker together and go to the bar together. And a lot of these engineers and designers talked. And in '55, I think it was, Cadillac had done a concept car, the Eldorado Barretts or something, or Barretts, whatever they called it. And it had four headlights.
Yeah.
Well, a bunch of the automotive designers were like, well, obviously they were designing stuff 2-3 years out.
Yeah.
So they were like, oh, for the 57/58 model year, we're going to do this four headlight thing. People think it's cool. And they just talked back and forth, and they did that. Well, then the same year, Cadillac had spent millions of dollars redesigning the 58 Cadillac, and completely scrapped the entire plan when one of their engineers overheard a Chrysler engineer talking about the dimensions of the fins. Because remember, the 50s are fins on the back of the car.
Yeah.
The fins for the upcoming 58 Chrysler. And they were like, we need bigger fins than them. And so they scrapped the whole design of the rear half of this car so they could beat Chrysler.
I wonder how many of these different things. I know you said there were a few things. I wonder if at any point in time, somebody who's buddies with a designer at another company goes, hey, I bet you, I don't know, case of beer, you can't get your boss to let prove this for the vehicle.
You kind of wonder, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, like, what can we get away with?
Yeah. Yeah, like, let's see where you can hide this. That kind of thing. I know they did that with some of the modern Jeeps. Like the little Easter eggs that are hidden everywhere.
True.
I wonder, my understanding of that was it started as a bet with somebody. They couldn't put it in there and get it all the way through design.
Yeah.
And it was like months or a year or so afterwards, somebody found it and was like, hey, what's this? And that's how it came about. Well, now they do it intentionally.
I do know of one case of that was one-upmanship, and unfortunately, I don't know which one it was. Do you happen to, off the top of your head, remember what car was the Green Hornet? Are you familiar with the Green Hornet? There used to be the TV. There was the
TV show I never saw. I remember there was a movie.
They remade the movie, and Seth Rogen was in it.
Yeah.
That
was Seth Rogen.
Yeah, Seth Rogen was in it.
They might have redone. I'm thinking Green Lantern. Never mind.
Not the Green Lantern. The Green Hornet.
Okay.
So it was a '60s a comic book that became a TV show that then became a movie in the early 2000s, but it was always the same car, which I think was something like a 64, 65 Chrysler or something like that.
I have no idea.
And in the comic book original show, it was one of their highest end models, and it was like the limousine model. It was like slightly stretched and this and that, but it had all these crazy spy gadgets, kind of like a James Bond car.
Yeah, that would be cool.
And they'd put into it. Well, I don't remember if it was that or the Lincoln, but I know that both of them the same year decided to add a bar that came out of the front seat to the back seat passengers. They had like decanters and glasses and all that. And one of them designed the whole thing, and the other one said, well, we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to up you. We're going to use Baccarat Crystal. So I don't remember which one it was. I think the Chrysler had the Baccarat Crystal.
Awesome.
But the Lincoln did not, or something. It might have been vice versa. I don't remember for sure, but it was that. It was one designer, and both of them I read a story about it forever ago. Both of the designers, it was basically, could they get their bosses to approve this?
That is awesome.
And so it was like, who could have the
awesome.
craziest bar in the back seat of a car?
I love that.
And so one of them won. I think it was Chrysler, but it was like a 1 or 2 year option only.
Yeah. So I got a question.
What's that?
So I know we're gonna. I'll bring it up now. We're talking about the motor vehicle safety standards thing.
Yeah.
So the whole thing, like with the Wranglers, the removable doors,
Yeah.
meaning you can drive it without the doors.
You can remove
on
the doors
road.
and anything. I got them a towel.
The whole thing, if it's designed from the factory, that way you can go on the road with it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Though I know it's mainly Wranglers that deals with.
Yeah.
Does that mean you could get lit in the back seat of one of these old cars because it came with whiskey decanters and such?
Well, it's funny you mention that because a lot of states have different laws on that. And last time I looked into it, Michigan, you could actually do that as long as you could drink as long as you were not within reach of the driver.
Excellent.
So, I mean, I guess a standard 4-seat car with somebody like me that's got like, I don't know, 4-foot wingspan, I could probably reach and smack everyone in the car. I mean, I know I've pretty much done that with the kids, but, I don't know. You could probably sit in the third row seat of Project Excursion getting lit legally. I don't know. We'll have to look it up. I'm not sure anymore. It used to be something like that.
I mean, not that I have a drinking problem that need the alcohol. I'm just curious if you could get lit in the back seat.
I don't know anymore. I don't know. There was it was something with RVs and motorhomes and this and that, and they might have changed it. I mean, they change those laws every so often. It's been years since I looked into it, but I mean, certain states like Florida and Texas used to be able. Maybe you still can, but only a few years ago you could drive around with an open beer in the console.
I mean,
As long as you were not over the legal limit, you could have a beer in the
I was
console.
going
You
to
could be
joke about
drinking.
that, but I won't.
What?
You can do that now.
Not legally.
No, I didn't say anything about legally.
Yeah, not legally. You can have a bottle of Jim Beam in the console, but I'm not saying you should.
Yeah, all right, I guess.
Oh my God, John.
I've never done that. I don't drink Jim Beam. So
Jim Beam's delicious. I know. What you're
I
talking
know.
about.
I didn't say I didn't like it. I just don't drink it.
Man. I tell you what.
Kidding, of course. I would never advocate drinking and driving.
No.
Terrible practice.
No, exactly. Only when you're
Anyways.
golfing.
Yes, and it's only funny because then you can hit people with the golf cart.
Yeah, I get it.
Or if your buddies are real great people, one of
Quote
you
unquote people? Do you have friends that aren't people?
great people.
Okay.
Say it that way. The one of you guys who will be listening to this is going to know the story. When somebody goes to hit the restroom, comes back on the golf cart, and then your two buddies turn around and start hitting golf balls at you. That part kind of sucks.
Yeah, well, I mean.
I mean, it was hilarious. Nobody hit me, but yeah, I was the driver of the golf.
I really only have one decent golf story, and it is one of the more serious injuries I've ever received in my life was in a golf sporting accident.
What did you do?
Well, I mean, it is a pretty violent sport.
Okay.
So, I mean, people get hurt in it all the time, but so
I mean, I've been angry and almost.
I was
club.
up in Fairbanks, Alaska.
Okay.
I was playing 18 holes, and I was out there. It was a nice day. The wind was in my lack of hair, and sun was shining, and I'm out there
Blinding
and
the birds that fly.
I think I was on the 16th or 17th hole, and I'd had a great run. I mean, I was looking at all 2-3 stroke runs. I mean, I'd done a great job. And I finally get to like 16th, 17th hole, and I'm getting a little cocky, and so I'm there, and I have my son with me. I actually have both kids and the ex-wife, and I'm just like, okay, I'm beating all you guys, blah blah, this and that, and, and I remember, so I start, and I had this, I start lining up, and and I'm just looking. I had this long shot. I'm looking at it, and I'm just kind of measuring it, and I'm measuring the wind distance, and I'm like, I probably got at least a good 15 feet till I hit that windmill, and so I start spinning the putter around, and what? Anyway,
You're talking golf. I'm thinking like real golf.
this is real golf.
That's miniature golf. That's
Same
not
thing.
the same.
So I start spinning the putter around, twirling it like a baton in the air. And I'm like, ooh, look who's the badass,
Yeah.
blah, blah. I've gotten every single one of these in like 2 shots, and I'm spinning this
Make me
putter
think he's
with this.
playing 18 holes, hitting
Yeah, with
par
like
every time.
this 1 pound brass head on it, and I'm spinning this thing around, and I managed to crack myself right in the face with it. Split my lip wide open. I am bleeding like a stuck pig all over the place. Yeah.
So how'd you finish?
Oh, I mean, I finished out the game with a rag on my face, but I still won everybody else.
Oh, well, already. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I think my total score was somewhere in maybe 40 or something like that for the 18 holes. So not bad.
Could be worse.
Well, here's the deal. I before we go to break, I can tell you right now, I have done a perfect golf score game in my life once.
Video game?
More than once, and perfect bowling.
Video games?
No, it's just they were reversed. I can golf a 300 like no man, and I can bowl an 18.
I used to be decent at golf. I lost it all. I used to play. My cousin and I used to play all the time. Like took lessons with a pro and everything. That dude was, yeah. And no, we used to play in the yard. Like, hey, see who can hit that tree first. It was like 2-3 shots, and we were hitting it.
Let's take a break, and I actually have one more golf accident that I just
Oh,
remembered.
I want to hear it.
All right.
Puppies are cute. Spiders are not. Spiders are creepy and ugly. But what will you do? You will call ABC Home and Commercial Services. The Spider Fighters can service your home for these unwelcome guests. ABC Spider Fighters will provide the solution for your spiders, wasps, box elder bugs, Asian lady beetles, cluster flies, and all your visiting insects. Call now for a prepaid discount. ABC Home and Commercial. These Spider Fighters. 810-794-5678.
So, my first sports injury in my entire life, and I maybe, I'm not pretty sure I've told you this story. I'm not sure if I ever told this on the podcast or not, though.
Is this podcast appropriate or after show?
Oh, it's podcast appropriate, but I don't know, maybe 12 years old, kid, growing up in baby boomer, kind of not quite Skid Row, but damn near, downtown Elginak, Michigan. Not necessarily a bad town, but a lot of poor people live there. A lot of poor, blue collar workers. Mm-hmm. My best friend at the time lived across the street, EJ, and
he was DJ back then.
EJ, not DJ.
Oh, I misunderstood.
EJ. And
you said
EJ
he was.
and I, obviously, this is the time before the video games, before the Instagram,
You had
before the
Pong back
Facebook.
then, don't lie.
No, I didn't have any of that, and he didn't either. We were too
Wow.
poor for that stuff, man. So our entertainment, believe it or not, and I know this is shocking, we used to go outside.
I've heard of that.
I know.
There's like bugs and stuff.
Yeah,
right?
there is. There
They call it
is.
sunshine?
So we're
Contrary to that,
outside,
sunburned
and for
as
a
hell.
while he was obsessed for whatever reason with golf. So he decided to make a golf course in our little, it wasn't even a suburb, we're talking like an old school downtown, just, old houses.
Area.
So he goes across their whole backyard and digs, I don't know, probably didn't even dig 18 holes. He probably dug 12 or something, but digs a bunch of holes across the yard, literally just divots in the lawn.
Nice.
And he found a golf ball somewhere. But we didn't have a golf club.
You used a hockey stick.
We used an aluminum baseball bat.
Holy crap.
So
I like your version better.
we would tap the thing, try to think whatever we could do to get this thing in. But problem was, his family, they were not real good at mowing the lawn. Like, it was like maybe a once a month or every other month process.
Oh, wow.
So we're talking deep grass. So to get
Yeah.
that ball,
You had to whack it.
yeah, even to get it like 20 feet, it was like whack, wait, think, all right, to go. So we're doing this, and we're having an afternoon of playing golf in the backyard, and it's his turn to putt. or whatever you call drive, I am not a golfer, as you can tell.
Those aren't words. I don't know what you call it with a bat.
Yeah, it's his term. It's his term on the green.
Okay.
So he goes up, and he's standing there, and he's like, "All right." And it was one of the harder holes that we had. It had to go around the back of the house by the garage, and he swings this thing back, just full speed, like as hard as he can to swing back, and promptly gets me right in the forehead and knocks me out cold. Just wham!
Oh, man.
I wake up sometime later. No idea how long I was out. I wake up it's the first time in my life I was ever knocked unconscious. And
I've come close.
I wake up on their couch and I open my eyes and his mom's like hovering over me and she looks down and she's like, oh my God, he's alive. And she
yell for her husband to stop digging a hole.
She turned around and beat the crap out of EJ.
Oh.
And she's just like, you gotta kill them, blah, blah, blah. And I'm still laying there like dazed, like, what just happened? I had this goose egg on my forehead, like, that was crazy. But yeah, so that was my years with golf there.
My grandparents used to play, like avid golfers. And, growing up, we spent a lot of time over there, so we, of course, had to learn how to play golf. Just fine, that's how I learned. And I remember they were teaching my sister one day. And they used to have this big plastic boat. I mean, it wasn't really a boat, but it was a boat. They'd put in the water, and they had floating golf balls, and you hit it at the thing, try and get it in there. So my dad's helping my sister, learn how to swing the club and how to stand and hold it. She goes on the backstroke, clocks him right in the head. He fell down, almost passed out, bleeding everywhere. Remember, he had to go to the hospital, it was like 4 or 5 stitches or something.
I'm telling you, man, golf's a dangerous game.
Oh, yeah. Scuba diving's safer than golf statistically. So softball.
I mean, the only person that I've ever known to get hurt by sports while scuba diving was our old, bless his heart, now he's passed on, our old instructor, Paul.
Yeah, I miss that guy.
Yeah, I whipped a bowling ball at him underwater, not realizing that the momentum or whatever, the velocity worked the same. Yeah.
A little bit. I mean, it's going to slow it pretty quick.
Yeah, well, I whacked his hand in between that and something else at a quarry we were at.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, the public safety class I did.
First time I ever heard someone swear underwater, and I actually heard him.
Oh, we've done rebreathers. You can talk. But
okay.
Yeah, it's muffled, but you hear everything. Mm-hmm. But, no, that was the PSD class. That's the thing to, familiarize yourself with the gunfire. You go down with a gun, pull the trigger, and it goes and it just very, very fast. But they still function underwater.
Oh, yeah.
That was the whole point, is they can still function. What's the phrase? Keep your booger hook off the bang switch.
Okay, I can see that.
That was the whole point. If there's a trigger, if you can't unload it, don't touch it. Secure it in a box and bring it up. Don't just grab it and bring it up.
Man, we've been all over. We've done that in a few episodes.
Yeah. We talked a little bit of car stuff.
Museum minutes.
Okay.
Next week, we have our first in-person
Oh, yeah. We got a board meeting.
or semi-bi-monthly meeting.
Yeah.
We've skipped the last one or two because of the Rona. And,
God, Corona does sound good right now.
yeah, it does. Pretty good, doesn't it?
Oh, my God.
So tell me, we can always, we're going to talk about this at the board meeting and all that, but you think we should open up?
If we can, I don't see why not.
We can't right now yet.
Oh, well, then no.
I looked it up. I looked it up the other day, but,
I'm
museum.
sure all our listeners are dying to get in there and check the place out.
I hope so. We've had
I've actually had people that want to go out there. They've been calling me about it.
We're getting.
They'll be glad.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
awesome,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
We're getting comments, personal messages and things. I don't know if you've seen some of them, even just comments on the posts, but people are saying that they have been getting more and more interest in the museum through our This Day in Off-Road History posts.
Cool.
They've learned a lot of stuff. We've reached a ton of people with those.
Awesome.
And they've been really popular. We haven't missed one yet.
No, I gotta catch up and start reading them again.
Yeah, I mean,
I've been kinda
we started
lax in a lot
them
of my online
January 1st this year,
Nice.
and the whole idea was to do a whole year of them at least.
Yep, I remember talking about that at the time.
And sometimes it's hard to find those pieces of history, but a lot of times, like you said, we go those Google rabbit holes and we find some interesting stuff. Sometimes we just know it off the top of our heads, but
yeah. I'll see if I can find the dates. I know I can't remember if it was wipers or the seatbelt. I think it was the seatbelt buckle. We know the guy who invented that.
Oh, okay.
Came up with the idea. I don't know if we have any of the information or the dates anywhere, but know the guy who did it.
There you go. There you go.
See if I can find that for you.
Well, something I'd like to mention, if you're a listener of Wheelin' and you're a fan of the museum, which I know there's a lot of crossover, there's a lot of people that do like both of them, and you're enjoying those This Day in Off-Road History posts, and you're enjoying the production of the museum and what we're doing, we've got some exciting things that we don't necessarily want to announce quite yet, but we've got some exciting new additions that are coming to the museum. But
Excellent. I've actually got one I'll talk to you guys about after this.
Absolutely.
Not going to happen.
But if you're enjoying that kind of stuff, and you can go to our PayPal, which I think you can find through our www.themora.org.
That's a question from Mr. Andrew, I think. I don't know.
On themora.org. I think you
PayPal?
can find a donation link on there.
Yeah,
Okay.
donate right through the Mora.
Yeah, themora.org.
Okay,
I mean, even just, helping us out right now, just so you folks know, a lot of museums, a lot of nonprofits went for payroll protection loans. A lot of them went for government bailout money. We didn't do any of that.
No.
We looked into it, and the cons outweighed the pros. And, we're going to continue going, but we're hurting. We haven't gotten a single donation in 3 months now. And we basically, our entire operations are done off of donations.
Yeah.
So, as much as even a $5 donation to the museum is a huge help.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so it's a nonprofit, it's tax write-off. If you, that's one of the things. If you're concerned about all this quote-unquote free money you've been getting from the government and unemployment, and people are saying, oh, you're going to have to pay it back. If you're concerned about what your tax liability is for the end of the year, and you want to donate $500 or $1,000 or something like that to offset your tax liability,
That would be great.
This is a great way to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Just go right to the museum page. And the same thing, if you use Amazon, go to Smile.
Still do that every purchase.
Me too.
Smile.amazon.com. Nothing changes except the logo.
Now, what's
Price doesn't change.
The link for it, is that like smile.amazon.com
Yes.
/ museum something?
No, smile.amazon.com.
And then just look up Museum of Off-Road Adventure?
It's something you have to set up. It takes about a minute to do it. And you just type it in. I think it's Museum of Off-Road, and it pops up.
Okay.
They can also go to the museum website and click a link.
Oh, there's a
Oh,
link
I
on
didn't know that.
themora.org, so that's a
Oh,
great
cool.
way to do that.
Have to check that out.
We're not trying to push this hard, but yet we kind of are, because
Oh, everyone's still ordering from Amazon, so
Yeah.
if they want to help in that way, that helps too.
it's a great way to help. I mean, if you're
Yeah.
sitting at home and you're ordering,
Cases
even
and
there's
cases of toilet paper.
People are even ordering groceries off Amazon these days. All
I've heard
sorts of
about that,
things.
yeah.
So, whatever you're ordering, if you're ordering a couple $100 a week of crap off of Amazon, that just to give you an example, doesn't cost you anything.
No.
They turn around and give us a percentage. Now it's small, but off of a $200
Yeah.
order,
It
I think
adds
we
up.
might get maybe 50 cents or $2 or something.
I don't know. I think
Whatever it is.
It's like 0.5%.
0.5%.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's
Hey, it helps.
something.
It
though.
adds up.
We get checks about every 3 months from Amazon. They're not huge, but there's enough people using it
Yeah.
that it's been worth it. And so, yeah, do that.
Oh yeah, any bit's appreciated.
And like I said, yeah, donations through themora.org are always great as well. And that helps keep everything up that we're doing.
Yeah.
But we also need to talk about Wheels in the Woods and whether or not we're going to do it this year. I've got some thoughts on that.
I didn't. Kind of completely forgot about that.
Well, I know. We got to make some
we'll talk
decisions
about that
pretty
Monday.
soon, yeah.
So
John, you got
Sounds
anything
good.
else right now, buddy?
nothing I can think of. I've kind of been dormant on most anything else I'm working on.
Well, like I told you, I've been
So-
working 60 to 90 hours a week.
Yeah,
so
I haven't been that busy, but
I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted right now, but
yeah, we can finish up and you can crash.
Sounds good, buddy. Why don't you tell people about where to find us?
Yep. Well, if you guys do have any questions or comments, feel free to check us out on our Facebook page, facebook.com/groups/4x4talk, or just go right to the search bar, type in 4x4talk, and it'll pull it up. A couple quick questions, get you in, ask away, take a look. You can see more of the posts there and on our wheeling page for the This Day in Off-Road History.
The museum page. Although we do usually share them over to the Wheeling page.
Yes, I forgot.
But the museum page, which, by the way, a little celebration. You don't have something to clink with there. We now have over 2,000 page likes on the museum page.
Well,
so it took a little while. We were hovering just under that for a while, but now we're almost up to 2,100 within a couple of days. So who knows?
Well, continuing with that, huge thanks to Mr. Andrew, the producer over there. Without him, none of this would be possible. Thank you greatly, sir. And cheers to you. If you do want to check out our bonus show on Patreon, patreon.com/wheelinradio. Or is it just Wheelin'? I think it's just Wheelin'.
I think it is.
I got to know. Well, I got to make sure I can't give people the wrong
information. Well, while you're looking up your note, we do have a new Patreon listener. Mr. Andy.
Excellent.
That we had Imhoff. That
awesome.
we had in the
Thank
last
you, sir.
episode.
Much appreciated.
He said he just messaged me the other day and said he signed up. So I'm hoping that the episode that he's on will be uploaded pretty quick. But I do know that Andrew's got a lot of work right now. He's got to play catch up with the Patreon. There's some things there. But I already told Andy, I says, it might be a little while before you're on there. But
it will be there.
There's a lot of content on there to you enjoy already.
It's $2 a month. You can check that out and get access to all that stuff.
Just to be clear, too, because I did have that question from someone ago, it's not $2 per episode. $2 you can listen to everything.
Yes, to everything that we have up there.
You get full access to the entire archive of End of the Trail. Yeah, there's like 30 shows on there. You know, you're probably got 20 hours of material on there at least. Some of our episodes are 15 minutes. Some of them are like an hour, which Andrew hates. But,
Sorry. Thank you again.
So
that's not a thumb. That being said, if you are watching us or listening to us on YouTube, make sure to hit like and subscribe. That way you see more content from us in the future as we upload it. I think that's all I got. So with that, I'll say thanks for listening and have a good one, everybody.